You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Saturday update is coming up in just a moment. Bam! Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for those of you tuning in to us live this morning for the Saturday Sports Update brought to you by yours truly and the Real Talk Sports Show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And big shout out to those of you who are watching us on the replay. That's right. I know some of you guys like to tune in live, but you said, hey, our schedule can't do it. No problem. We thank you for joining us here on the replay. Big shout out to you. And of course, we have to give a big shout out to those who are listening on the legendary WIGO Pacer 1570 here in the Atlanta area or around the world on WIGO1570.com and now on the free TuneIn app. Just download the app if you don't have it. It's called TuneIn. Put in WIGO in the search engine, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. So we appreciate you. Hey, all right, let's get right to it. We got a half an hour this morning, and we want to get your opinions. We want to hear from you guys this morning. So we're going to do two things. We're going to go ahead and put the link up on the social media so you guys can see it, so you guys can join us if you like. Also, we're going to put the topic up of what we're going to talk about today because we are going to get into the conversation that has been dominating the NFL and certainly here in Atlanta as well. The idea of who is going to be the next coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Also, the other thing that's been buzzing around in Atlanta sports and also to some degree in national sports, the idea of Atlanta trading away a former all-star guard, Dejounte Murray, a guy they just picked up and gave up a bunch of stuff for in terms of draft picks and draft capital. So I want to get your opinion on that. So here's going to be there are two questions to talk about on today. Number one, do you like the combo of Jim Harbaugh and Justin Fields, or do you like the combo of Bill Belichick and Kirk Cousins? And question number two on the object for today in the Saturday Sports Update is, should we trade Dejounte, or, as many people I know have said, should we trade Trae Young? Those are our questions we want to ask you guys today. Love to get your guys' comments and opinions. Here's how you do it. Number one, you can, if you're watching the broadcast, you see on social media, go ahead and type in your answer, and we'd love to shout you out on the air. Or if you're listening, call 404 361 1571. And I believe Lady D is back in the studio, and she will let me know what you guys have to say. And we'd love to get, like I said, again, your feedback on these two questions, three questions actually. Belichick and Cousins, or do you like the combination of Jim Harbaugh and Justin Fields? And then talking NBA, do you like Trae Young? Should you trade Trae Young, or should in fact you trade Dejounte Murray? All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a quick little enunciation of our sponsors. We're not going to take a sponsor break. We are going to let you guys know that we are one of our lead sponsors, our title sponsor for high school football and our broadcast is Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. Now, here's the cool thing. I actually work for Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. So if you need a car for yourself, for your family, or more importantly, for your business, that's really my expertise. please give me a call. 678-364-3979 is the office number, or you can hit me up on the cell, 678-410-9833. We'd love to assist you in whatever you may need in the way of an automobile. So check us out there and hit us up, and we'd love to, like I said again, serve you in any way we can. All right, I guess let's talk a little basketball first. Let's talk about the idea of should we trade Dejounte Murray or Trae Young. Now, those are people who are from Atlanta probably say, dude, are you crazy? How are you going to trade Trae Young? The guy is balled out. He certainly had a epic run in the 2021 NBA playoffs. So why would we trade this guy? A guy who is a double-double every single night, day in and day out, 25 points a game and at least 10 assists a game. So you say, why would we get rid of him? Well, here's the problem I'm beginning to have with Trae Young. I like the guy. He seems like he's a nice guy, Christian brother. Seems like he is hasn't caused any trouble really since he's been here with Atlanta. But I will say this: the one thing that Trae Young has not done, he has not been able to really, from what I can see, except for that one run in 2021 and his other All-Star season, he has not consistently made his teammates any better. I mean, that's really the mark of a superstar. Superstar can come in and he can elevate the team to his game. And unfortunately, I've not really seen that with Trae Young. The other thing is that oftentimes, in watching the way the Hawks play, they apparently seem to play better without Trae Young. This is, I mean, now the record is still right above 500. I mean, right around 500. But at the end of the day, if you look in these last 2 years, the Hawks have struggled to maintain 500. And this year, I think they're 5 or 6 games under 500 with Trae and Dejounte. So my question is, maybe if you could trade Trae Young, and this is what people are mentioning to me, and I want to get your opinion on it. People are talking about, should we trade Trae Young to try to get some draft capital, since we used it up to get Dejounte, and try to get a legitimate big man? Because no disrespect to Clint Capella, who has been a great asset for the Hawks, always in the top 10 in the NBA and rebounding. Matter of fact, a couple of years ago when they went and had that great run into the NBA Eastern Division or Eastern Conference Finals, he actually led the league in rebounding. So he holds his own to some degree, but I think they need another real big man, a rim protector that can help them defensively, because this is where the Hawks are really struggling, is on the defense. They really are. A lot of people also talk about the fact that Trae Young, due to his size, he really is a liability on defense. Now, I will say this: since Dejounte Murray has come, he has gotten much better. Matter of fact, him and Dejounte both are in the top 20 in the NBA in steals. So, to Trae's credit, he has been a willing and teachable since Dejounte has come on board, and he has, in fact, improved, especially playing in the passing lanes. But again, his style of play, the fact that he is a very ball-centric player, the fact that he has to really have the ball in his hands a lot in order for him to, do what he does. Oftentimes, the offense seems to drag out. It seems to slow down. It seems to not have the quick ball movement that you see most of your better teams have. And so the question now goes back: is in fact, Trae the guy you need to trade? What's your opinion? We'd love to hear you. Hit us up. Phone number 404 361 1571, or you certainly can go ahead and hit me up on social media. We'd love to hear your comments on what do you think about trading Trae Young versus trading Dejounte Murray. Let's take a look at Trae's stats. Like I said, this year the guy's balled out. I mean, he has improved in almost every area of his game. His shooting numbers are up. Um, his shooting percentage is up. The guy has, really, like I said again, improved year over year. But the team has not. The team has gone backwards. Now, last night he did not play, and a team that normally gives him fits didn't. Dejounte Murray balled out. He had 22 points and 11 assists, and the Hawks won that game 109 to 108. A big, huge win for this Hawk team. But again, let's take a look at Trae's stats this year. The guy's averaging 27.2 points a game. He's averaging 10.9 assists a game and 1.4 steals per game in about 36 minutes. Now, like I said, it's hard to really say anything about these stats. Like I said, they're all up over last year, except for his field goal percentage is down just a little bit from last year. Just a little bit. It was up, but he's kind of been off, I guess, the last couple of games. But anyway, he's up a point in his average, and he's almost up a whole point on his assists. So, like I said again, so far in this situation, he has apparently improved, and he's averaging more minutes, another couple of minutes a game. If you look at his stats since he's been here, like I said, the guy pretty much has balled out. His premier years were his third and fourth year here, the 2019-2020 season and on through the 2021-2022 season. Trae Young really was one of the league's best players. In the 2019-2020 season, statistically, as far as raw numbers, scoring-wise, was his best. He was amongst the scoring leaders in the NBA, 29.6 points a game. He ratcheted back down the next year to 25.3 points a game and 9.4 assists. But the 9.4 assists were more than the average the year before, and his shooting percentage was up just a notch. And like I said again, he was electric in the Eastern Conference Finals. Even though he's continued to score over 25 points a game and give you 10-plus assists, like I said again, the team is not winning. I mean, eighth in the league in points, second in the league in steals. You say to yourself, hey, this team should be a lot better than it is, but it's not. So now the question goes back to, hey, should this be a guy that we trade? Should we keep Dejounte? I don't know. Love to give you your opinion on it. Here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll ask you again what your thoughts are. And then we'll also get into the idea of who should be the Falcons' next head coach. You're listening and watching the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment. Please don't go nowhere. Thank you. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the Real Talk Sports Show. Again, I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons. We thank God for all those of you who've tuned in to watch and to listen to the Saturday Sports Update. We're asking three big questions here, especially from you Atlanta fans, but even you NFL and NBA fans. The question we just asked, should Trae Young or Dejounte Murray be the guy that the Hawks should trade to improve this team? And we were waiting to get some feedback from y'all. And again, the phone number 404-361-1571, or you can put your comments on the social media page that you are watching, and we will shout you out and respond to your question via social media. So again, that's our question. What do you think, Dejounte or Trae being traded out? Really right now, guys, it's a toss-up. I'm really torn. Like I said, Trae Young has been an outstanding performer for this team since he's been here. He's been a walking double-double. He's been a record setter. He's been to the All-Star game twice. Problem is this team has underperformed pretty much since he's been here. I mean, for a guy that you exuded top draft capital for, and when you look at the guy that he kind of was almost traded for, Luka Doncic. Now, I always tell people that it really wasn't Luka Doncic for trade. It was Luka Doncic for trade and the pick that eventually became Cam Reddish. But at the end of the day, as many highlights as this guy has done, again, I go back to the same thing. He's not been able to get his team up to the next level. And Cam Reddish, because of his immaturity, he ended up being gone. So now the question is it about trading Trae or Dejounte, or is it about this team getting back to getting basketball personnel to run this team? I like Tony Ressler. I met the guy. I've talked to him on several occasions. He seems like a good guy, and he seems like he wants to win. However, at times it looks like he's trying to win on the cheap. I know he's mentioned he doesn't want to go into the salary tax for the NBA without having a winning team or championship team. So I understand as an owner, hey man, it's an investment, and you want to get the best you can. But I would tell Tony Ressler like I would tell any owner of look out, my microphone kind of dashed away from me from any sports team. I understand you don't want to spend the money, but at the end of the day, the fans are the most important thing, especially when you, as an owner of the team, ask and get either tax breaks or loans or cash money in some cases millions and even billions of dollars. So if that being the case, the citizenry has the right to confront you and to some degree demand of you to put the best quality team on the field because we have subsidized your team with our money. So yeah, we're going to be a little snarky. And yes, we're going to demand something to happen right now. And we are expecting you to spend your money because we have spent our money. If you look at the Hawks, they did one of the largest in terms of cost NBA renovations of a stadium in history. And don't get me wrong, the former Phillips Arena, now State Farm, beautiful facility. It sells out every game. The Hawks in game is the best in the NBA, has been the last several years. So I don't want to take away from what the stadium provides. However, outside of the one season that we had where they had that phenomenal run to the Eastern Conference Finals, the Hawks have underperformed since they've been at State Farm. They've been a disappointment. And not only been a disappointment, frustration. And here's the thing. It'd be one thing if the team seemed to have some type of solution, but every single game after the post game, especially after a loss, we do the same thing, or the team's not connected. And we don't know why we collapse in the second half of games, which we see consistently from all Atlanta teams for that matter. So I'm just trying to get a handle on what to do. I don't know, guys. We're going to leave it right there because, as Trae said in the press conference, that we had the answer to why our team plays the way we do. We would change it. Now, speaking of change, before we get into the NFL and the coaching carousel, there's been changes happening in college football. Due to the NILs, man, it has been unbelievable. And that and the transfer portal, all the stuff that's going on in the world of sports. And interestingly enough, I got a call from a good friend of mine. I shout him out, Pastor Sergio Kroom, who's over there at Southwest DeKalb. They're in the process of revitalizing their high school football program. And he said that Kirby Smart arrived via helicopter onto the field and with great fanfare presented a full scholarship to their star linebacker on that team. Now, this is Kirby's second helicopter appearance, I believe, in the last 2 or 3 days. So what's that telling you? What's that telling you is that this thing is ramping up, guys. This whole thing for athletes, because the NIL and the transfer portal, this is ramping up. Now, here's the one thing that may be difficult going forward, that many of our high school athletes that are not 5 stars and 4 stars may find it more and more difficult to be able to get into college on scholarships because of the money that's going to go to these top prospects. And so we hope and pray that this doesn't, rule young men out from getting scholarships. Now, here's the good thing. Most of these teams have to field your top teams in the SEC, ACC, and all these big conferences. They have to have a minimum of 70 to 80 players that they dress. And I think probably 2/3 of them are on scholarship, maybe more. So there is still room. However, the landscape be a changing in college football. There's now big money. And pretty soon, I'm afraid if they don't get this thing under control, they're going to kill the golden goose because so many people are fully engaged in college football for 2 reasons. One, they, in many cases, have a direct attachment to the school because they're alumni. And 2, there is still some, not much, but up until the NILs especially, there was always some tinge of it being players just playing for the love of the game, not worrying about check like they do in a professional realm. So I think if they can't find some way to corral this, people are going to get turned off because it's all about the money, just like the pros. I'm just saying. So That's my take on that. All right, guys. One little quick last announcement from our sponsors, and then the big question for you Atlanta football fans. What do you think? Do you like the combo of Jim Harbaugh and quarterback Justin Fields, or would you prefer the coaching GOAT, Bill Belichick, and a veteran quarterback like Kirk Cousins? Answer that question from you when we come back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. Keep it locked right here.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
Now we're back here for the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show's Saturday Sports Update Special, as we broadcast to you live on the legendary WIGO 1570 Pacesetter Radio here in Atlanta. Also, anywhere online at www.wigo1570.com. And remember, you also can check us out on an app. There's an app called TuneIn. If you don't have it, download it. It's a free app. And here's what happens. Put in WIGO in the search engine, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. All right. The other big news that's been going on and people talking about all week long is the coaching carousel. And of course, here in Atlanta, the buzz of the possibility of the GOAT of coaches in the NFL, Bill Belichick, bringing the Patriot way to Atlanta. Now, for some people, there is great joy because the Falcons have not been able to get over a hump. They have tried all types of coaches over the years to try to get them in, but none of them have had the panache, except for the late Dan Reeves, as far as Super Bowl experience and winning Super Bowls. And although Dan Reeves did not win any Super Bowls as a coach with Denver, he did win some as a player with the Dallas Cowboys, and he was involved either as a coach or player in, I think, 7 Super Bowls total. But that does not match Bill Belichick's 9 Super Bowl appearances with the Patriots and also a couple more with the Giants. So you're talking about a guy who's been to 11 Super Bowls. He's been to coached in 9 Super Bowls in the last 20 years, and probably without question has created one of the great NFL or sports dynasties of all time. I mean, we can talk about the Steelers who won 4 Super Bowls in 5 years. We can talk about the Dallas Cowboys that won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. We can talk about the Green Bay Packers that won back-to-back Super Bowls to kind of start this whole Super Bowl era off. But the bottom line is Bill Belichick, his track record is unprecedented. And his ability to coach legendary players. You probably would say that he has coached 2 of the greatest players. Well, not probably, has coached 2 of the greatest players in NFL history. He was the defensive coordinator when Lawrence Taylor roamed the field for the New York Giants. And of course, we know his 20-year affiliation with Tom Brady, the de facto GOAT of all quarterbacks. And many people think he could be one of the greatest NFL players of all time. But that will be up for another discussion. At the end of the day, Bill Belichick's a winner, and he knows how to win Super Bowls more so than any other coach in history. So the question is, would you like to see, as an Atlanta sports fan, would you like to see Bill Belichick here as the head coach? And if so, would you like to see him bring in a quarterback, veteran quarterback such as Kirk Cousins? Because I think everybody understands here in Atlanta that this team could have and should have been in the playoffs probably the last 2 years, but definitely last year. This was a team that had for the first time in a long time, a good defense. They were in the top 10 in the NFL. They had an offense that had all kinds of weapons all over the place. At every position, they had a potential or current star. If you look at the tight ends, you have Kyle Pitts, number 4 draft pick in his rookie year, went to the Pro Bowl. You have Jonnu Smith that came over from, ironically, the Patriots. a guy that knows how to block and receive. You look at Drake London, a top 10 pick as a wide receiver. And I'm sure if this guy was able to get more targets, he would probably be one of the dominant players in the league. And you look at that running back room, Tyler Algiers, Cordarrelle Patterson, and now Bijan Robinson stacked. So this team should have went to the playoffs this year. They should have won 10 games, but they blew at least 5 games due to the ineptitude at the quarterback position. And also due to the, I believe, play calling and non-coaching up from the head coach, Arthur Smith, from players in that position. I just think that he did Desmond Ridder an absolute disservice by the way he called plays and the way he schemed things up. And then, of course, the team itself, in terms of its ability to not hang on to the football, especially in the red zone, led to Arthur Smith's demise and why we are looking for a coach right now. So now the other option, if you don't get the GOAT, you get a guy who is a winner both in college and in professional football. I'm talking about Jim Harbaugh, recent winner of the national title with the Michigan Wolverines, but 2 straight appearances in the college football playoffs. He has had 10 plus win seasons. And I think all of his years coaching at Michigan, with the exception of one, and they knocked off their arch rival, Ohio State, 3 consecutive years, even when they had dominant players at the quarterback and wide receiver position. So Jim Harbaugh's a winner in college. And oh, by the way, when he was in the pros, had winning and playoff seasons with the San Francisco 49ers and got to the NFC Championship twice and got to the Super Bowl, getting knocked off by the Baltimore Ravens. And he was the guy that really allowed Colin Kaepernick to be on the map as a running quarterback. And oh, by the way, he has NFL experience also as a player. He was a quarterback. Back when he was in the Indianapolis Colts, they called him the comeback kid. As a matter of fact, played in the AFC Championship in the mid-'90s and came a Hail Mary away from taking the Indianapolis Colts to the 1995 or 96 Super Bowl, which was ultimately won by the Dallas Cowboys over the Pittsburgh Steelers. So old Jimmy has some panache and credibility himself. And how cool would it be if he could bring in a Justin Fields, a guy who has been mismanaged in Chicago, but a guy who has just enormous talent, both as a thrower of the football and a runner of the football. What do you think? Belichik and Kirk Cousins, a guy who has been, outstanding, one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the last decade, a guy who's consistently put up big numbers year after year, and he has got his team to the playoffs several times. So do you want to go with the proven experience at the championship level with a Bill Belichick and a perennial quarterback playoff contender in Kirk Cousins? Or do you want to go with the hometown hero and the guy who will constantly keep you guessing, Mr. Jim Harbaugh? A younger man in both cases, younger man and guys who could maybe start to build a dynasty here. Love to get your feedback to tell us what you think. But here's the thing. You're going to have to do it on social media because all those of you who are listening on WIGO 1570, we got to go because we have another great show that's coming up right behind me. I want to encourage you guys to keep it locked right here on the legendary WIGO, page to the 1570 AM for great gospel music, great R&B, and great talk, especially inspirational conversations from preachers like myself, because that's why I am actually a preacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so I'm going to encourage you to also check me out on Wednesdays, where I do a broadcast called The Clarion Call, where I try to break down the scriptures in a plain way so that you can understand it and hopefully be empowered to change your life. And how do you do that? Well, it's real simple. You need to be born again. And you say, Minister, okay, well, how do I do that? Simple. First of all, you must repent of your sins and then believe that Jesus Christ came here, both fully man, fully God, died for your sins, but rose from the dead. And when he did, 2 great things happen when you believe in him. Number 1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That means you can now go to God like a heavenly parent, ask him for anything you need or desire, and he'll grant it to you according to his will. And number 2, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven, and you get an opportunity to go to heaven when you die. That means no pain, no pandemic, no bad people, and you get to see God face to face and all the people of love. You avoid that nasty place called hell where think about this, you're going to be hanging out with demons, Satan, all evil people. I don't know about you, but like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, guys, remember, much love and peace and blessings to you. And until the next time we get back together again, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long and take care.